It was the summer of 1961. As part of his trip to the villages in the Nilgiri hills, Swami was to visit a village by the name Bikkatti. Even as the entire village was excitedly preparing for the divine visit, one resident was unable to contain his excitement. It was Kuten, a lame dog who had come to be the pet of the whole village. The people leashed him, thinking his frenzy was a result of all the activity he was seeing around him. Kuten strained at the leash, desperate to get close to the divine visitor. Swami stopped by him, patted him lovingly, and instructed the villagers, "Leave him alone. He's a Shuddhatma, a pure being." Freed on divine command, Kuten wouldn't leave Swami's side. He followed Swami even to the kitchen where Swami blessed the prasadam. Turning to the villagers, Swami instructed them to feed Kuten first. After having the prasadam, he followed Swami to the dais from where Bhagwan oversaw the distribution of prasadam. After a while, Kuten gently placed his head upon Swami's footstool and within a few minutes breathed his last. Bhagwan declares in the Bhagavata Vahini, quote, "The avatar is only the concretization of the yearning of the seekers, the solidified sweetness of the devotion of godly aspirants. They are the prime cause," unquote. And these lovers of the divine came not just in human form. Bhagwan's relationship with the animal kingdom is a saga of immense sweetness and a profound lesson in harmless living and loving kindness towards all as the basic necessities for a spiritual journey. Through some of these interactions, like the story of Kuten, one finds elevated souls coming to him in different forms and finding fulfillment in life. And through the stories of others like Sai Gita, Swami's beloved elephant, we learn how to elevate our souls too. Even as a child, young Sathya was against all cruel games which caused pain to animals. His companions learned that he didn't like them even to witness the annual bullock cart race. Same was the case with the game of cockfighting which was held in the village then. Young Satyam chose to be a vegetarian. He would cry piteously when he saw the villagers carrying a bird to be slaughtered. Sometimes he would embrace the fowl and fondle it so lovingly that the villagers would not have the heart to harm the creature. In the later years, Bhagwan would insist that all those who claim to be Sai devotees should most certainly give up eating meat and embrace a vegetarian lifestyle. Over the years, many four-legged souls were gifted with the divine proximity and care of Bhagwan. In the early years, Bhagwan had many dogs as pets in the mandir. You may have seen this picture before, but did you notice who's posing with Swami here in the old mandir? This little one was lucky even to join the devotees and Swami for the Chitravati sessions. This was perhaps the first canine devotee to reach Swami's fold. In the years to follow, many dogs, mostly in pairs, made Prasanthi Mandir their home and Swami their doting master. Chitti and Bitti, Lily and Billy, Minnie and Mickey, Honey and Goldie, Rover and Rita, Shanti, Ranger, Raja, Rani and many more, all named by Swami. Tommy and Henry were even featured in Sanathana Dharma November 1958 issue. At one point in the 1970s, not less than 10 dogs were living in the ashram around Swami's residence in Vrindavan, all cared for lovingly by Swami and a few of his students. But among the many dogs that have had the blessing of being near him, the first two dogs, Jack and Jill, have a special place in Swami's heart, for they had a connection that transcended this lifetime.
Ramesh, Paresh.
Ramesh
and Paresh.
వారికి కూడాను 12, 14 సంవత్సరములు.
They were aged 12 and 14.
నేను ఉరవకొండ వదిలాను.
Swami left Uravkhanda.
ఆ పరేష్ అనేటువంటి వాడు రాజు 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 అని ఓ పిచ్చి పట్టిపోయింది.
The Paresh, the classmate, turned mad because of the pangs of separation.
ఈ రమేష్ అనేవాడు వెళ్ళినాడు, ఒక బావిలో పడిపోయాడు.
Ramesh, another classmate, ran, fell into the well.
బావిలో పడి ప్రాణం ఇచ్చాడు.
He fell into the well and
రాజు
died.
లేని నేను స్కూల్కి రాను.
I don't attend the school without Razu.
ఈ పిల్లవాడంతే రాజు 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 అని ఒకే పిచ్చి పట్టిపోయింది.
The other classmate went on repeating
ఎన్ని
Razu's name.
పిచ్చాసుపత్రుల్లో చేర్చినారు, ఎక్కడే కానీ పిచ్చి నయం కాలేదు.
He was given treatment in many of the hospitals.
వాళ్ళ తల్లి తండ్రులు ఇద్దరు వచ్చేసేసి నన్ను కోరారు, మీ ముఖం చూస్తేనన్నా వాడికి ఆనందం వేస్తుందేమో, రండి ఒక తోరి అని.
The parents came and prayed to Swami. At least the son would be all right if he sees the face of Swami.
నేను బళ్ళారి పిచ్చాసుపత్రికి నన్ను తీసుకెళ్లారు.
And they took Bhagavan to the mental hospital in Ballari.
అక్కడే పోతాను రాజు 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 అని అర్చినాడు, ఏడ్చినాడు, పాదాల పైన పడ్డాడు, ప్రాణం విడిచాడు.
Seeing Swami, he shouted, Razu, 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 fell at the feet of Swami and died there.
ఆ విధంగా స్వామికి అర్పితం చేశారు.
That's how they have surrendered themselves.
మేము ఎప్పుడు మీతోనే ఉండాలి,
We should always be with you.
మిమ్మల్ని వదిలి క్షణమైనా మేము ఉండలేము
We cannot live away from you for a
అని
moment.
కోరేటువంటి వారు.
That was their prayer.
తర్వాత నేను
Later,
ఇక్కడికి పుట్టబర్తికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత
when Swami came here,
సుబ్బమ్మ 1 ఎకరా ల్యాండ్ ఇచ్చింది సత్యమ్మ గుడి దగ్గర.
Subbamma gave 1 acre of land near that Satyamma temple.
దానికి ఒక చిన్న ఇల్లు కట్టారు.
A small house was constructed.
అప్పట్లోపల వీళ్ళిద్దరు కూడాను 2 కుక్క పిల్లలై నా దగ్గర వచ్చారు.
At that time, these 2 classmates came to Bhagavan in the form of two little small dogs, puppies.
దీనికి మైసూరు మహారాజా చెల్లెలినటువంటి ఆమె.
There was the sister of Mysore Maharaja.
ఆమె ఈ 2 చాలా అందంగా ఉంటున్నాయి, జాక్ అండ్ జిల్ అని పెట్టింది.
These 2 puppies, 2 small dogs, are named Jack and Jill.
జాక్ అండ్ జిల్, జాక్ అండ్ జిల్, జాక్ అండ్ జిల్ అని చెప్తూ వచ్చారు.
And everyone called these 2 dogs Jack and Jill.
మైసూరు డివిజన్ రాణి,
Mysore,
పెద్ద రాణి,
the queen,
స్వామిని చూడాలని కర్ణాటకపల్లి వరకు కారులో వచ్చింది.
came to see Swami by car.
అప్పుడు పుట్టపర్తికి ఎక్కడే కానీ రోడ్లు లేదు.
There was no approach route to Puttaparthi.
అక్కడ నుంచి వచ్చింది.
She came from there.
పాత మందిరం అనగా ఇప్పుడు ఓల్డ్ కళ్యాణ మంటపం కట్టారే, అక్కడ పూర్వం చాలా చిన్న షెడ్ ఉండేటువంటిది.
Pata Mandir, presently Kalyana Mandapam, in those days there was a small shed.
ఆమె వచ్చింది,
She came,
స్వామికి నమస్కారం చేసుకుంది,
she namaskar,
వెళ్ళిపోవాలని.
and she decided.
నేను చెప్పాను, కొంచెం ఒక దినం రాత్రి ఉండండి, ఈ డ్రైవర్ పోవాలి కదా, అక్కడ కార్ రిపేర్ చేయాలి కదా అని అన్నీ చెప్పాను.
Swami said, you stay here tonight because you cannot go. The driver has to go up to Karnataka Palli.
నేను జాక్కు చెప్పాను, జాక్ చూడు మన మనిషి పోతున్నాడు, అతని వెంట నీవు పో అన్నాను.
Swami told the Jack, this man is going, follow him.
అప్పుడు జాక్ అతని వెంట పోయింది.
Jack, the dog, followed the driver.
రాత్రంతా కూడాను కారు కింద పండుకుంది.
The Jack, the dog, slept there under the car.
తిరిగి తెల్లవారు లేస్తానే రాణి గారి వెళ్ళాలి కదా, దాని కారు స్టార్ట్ చేయడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేశాడు.
Next morning, Queen was to leave. The driver was starting the engine.
స్టార్ట్ చేసి కొంత దూరం కదిలించారు కారును.
He started the engine and the car started to
ఆ
move.
కారు టైర్ కింద పండుకుంది ఈ జాక్.
This Jack was lying under the tire of the car.
కడుపు పైన పోయింది టైర్.
The tire rolled on the stomach of the
ఈ
car.
బ్యాక్ బోన్ అంతా విరిగిపోయింది.
The backbone was broken down.
అక్కడి నుంచి అరుచుకుంటూ దాన్ని ఈడ్చుకొని వస్తుంది అది పాపం.
This Jack the dog was shouting, crying, dragging its body all along to Puttaparthi.
నేను బయటికి వచ్చాను.
Swami came out.
ఏడ్చుకుంటూ వస్తున్నది.
The Jack was coming, crying and crying.
వచ్చి స్వామి పాదాల పైన పడింది, ప్రాణమిచ్చింది.
The Jack crying fell at the feet of Bhagavan and died there.
ఆ జాక్ను వెనకలు పెట్టినటువంటి బృందావనము జాక్ యొక్క సమాధియే.
Today you find there in Vrindavan the tomb of the Jack.
అది సెంటర్లో కట్టలేదు.
It was not the center.
నేను చెప్పాను ఇంకా కొంచెం సైడ్ కట్టమని చెప్పాను.
Swami said it should be built by the side.
దీనికి రెండవ సమాధి కూడా కావాలి అన్నాను నేను.
The second samadhi is also required. Tom.
సరే, కొన్ని దినములు అయిన తర్వాత ఈ జాబ్ పోయిందనేటువంటి దీంతో అన్నం తినకుండా ఒకే ఏడ్చుకుంటూ ఆ జిల్లి కూడా ప్రాణం ఇచ్చింది.
Because of separation, the other dog Jill cried and died.
ఆ రెండింటి యొక్క సమాధియే పాత మందిరం దగ్గర వెనక ఉండేటువంటి బృందావనము.
That's what we find Vrindavanam behind this Patha Mandir, the two tombs of the Jack and Jill.
ఆ విధంగా రమేష్ పరేష్ వాళ్ళు స్వామి వెంట ఉండాలని ఇంత తపస్సు చేసి ఇన్ని విధాల జన్మమైన ఎత్తేసి కుక్క జన్మమైన ఎత్తి ప్రశాంతనంలో ఇక్కడి నుంచి పోయారు.
That was the prayer, the penance of Ramesh and Paresh, who wanted to stay with Swami even in the form of dogs.
Clearly, even these animals had a bond with Swami far deeper than any of us could imagine. Who knows what were the prayers or pleas as a fulfillment of which they were brought to Swami. Mrs. Girijabai, a singer from Sundaram, describes the pet dog that her family had for 16 years. His piety was quite awe-inspiring to all those who observed him. He would quietly and sincerely attend the bhajan sessions at home and even growl at those who would speak during the bhajans. At the end of the session, he would come forward to the altar to do namaskar and then show his forehead, asking for vibhuti to be applied. When Swami visited Mrs. Girijabai's house, they decided to lock him up in the room, fearing he might bark at this divine stranger as was his wont. But Bhagwan went straight to the room, opened it and stood before him. The dog looked at Swami, making a deep meditative eye contact. Swami then raised his hand, blessed and left. All gathered there felt the visit to the home was perhaps only to bless this pious four-footed member of the family. A small episode that happened in a devotee's home in Guwahati in 1972 speaks not only of his compassion towards animals but also his omnipresence. Minky was a kitten that was found in the city drain and rescued by a little girl. Moved by compassion, she took the terrified creature home, much to the disgust of her elder sister. Minky recovered quickly under the care of the girl. One day, Minky sneaked into the kitchen and took away a good bite of the food meant for some guests. The elder sister was furious at this and scolded the girl for the act of the kitten, saying that is why she never wanted the cat in the house. The girl in turn turned to the kitten and punished it by caning the poor thing. Suddenly, there was a big noise as some framed pictures on the wall fell on the floor with a thud. Fearing an earthquake, the people in the house ran out for safety. But when they stepped back in, they noticed that only pictures of Swami, over 15 in number, had fallen. Realizing that it was a not-so-gentle reprimand from Swami, they turned to the kitten. As they watched, the little thing shrugged and shook its fur, only to let out a cloud of fragrant vibhuti that had manifested on it. 6 months later, the family travelled to Prasanthi Nilayam for Swami's birthday celebrations, taking an arduous 7-day journey. Swami was blessing the group with Padanamaskar and Vibhuti packets after the celebrations before the group could return. After having granted the blessing to the little girl who was also in the group, Swami paused, turned back, handed a few more packets to the girl, saying, "Ye billi ke liye, these are for the cat." Once, Swami said to a devotee, "This avatar has not come just for people belonging to any sect or religion or region. This avatar is for all, even for the birds, beasts, animals, trees and plants." An interesting episode happened in the late 1950s. One of the devotees from the Konasima region of Andhra Pradesh was describing to Swami in a casual chat about a cattle and horse fair that takes place in a village called Kotipalli. Animatedly, He described how hundreds of fine horses are brought to that place from different parts of the region. Quite unexpectedly, Bhagwan began describing the features of the Panchakalyani horse, a certain breed with 5 distinct marks and features. The devotee went to the fair, wondering how he would be able to identify the horse in such a crowd. But he was indeed able to locate that particular horse and brought it to Puttaparthi. Swami had the horse decorated and mounting it told the devotees around, "Behold, I am giving you the darshan of the Kalki Avatar." He even had this photograph taken, which he then gave to select devotees to keep in their homes. Whom the divine chooses as his instrument, for what purpose, and when, will always remain a mystery. Swami has cared for cows and bulls ever since the days of the old mandir. But officially, the Sri Sathya Sai Gokulam, a home for cows, was set up by Swami in Puttaparthi in 1975 during Bhagwan's 50th birthday year. A few years before that, the Gokulam in the Vrindavan ashram was set up. The love that Swami showered on these gentle creatures was a sight for the lords. He cared for them like a mother and taught through his actions the virtue of gratitude. Swami was very particular about the comfort of their dwelling place, the fodder they were served, and even the adornments that they would wear during the Janmashtami processions. He named each of them Sai Lakshmi, Sai Gauri, and so on, and would come to them calling out their names. And the cows too responded with the same love. The person in charge recalls how once when he took to Swami an elaborate presentation of figures and graphs of the milk production of the Gokulam, Swami brushed it aside and only inquired about the well-being of the animals, making it clear that the purpose of the Gokulam was to care for them. Swami would tell people working there, "Take care of the cattle like you would care for your own mother." A devotee of Swami once wanted to set up a Goshala, or old age home for cows that had stopped yielding milk, where they could be cared for till their last moments. When he came for blessings, Swami expressed his joy and blessed the initiative profusely. The devotee then requested Swami if a few old cows from Gokulam could be given to him as the first members of the Goshala. Swami flatly refused, saying, "How can I give them away? They have served me. Shouldn't I take care of them till their very end?" Swami says that man should learn to revere the 5 mothers: Deha Mata, mother of the body; Desha Mata, motherland; Bhu Mata, mother earth; Veda Mata, the Vedas as mother; and Go Mata, the mother cow. He was not merely giving us the precept, he was living his message indeed. There is another sweet episode where Swami displayed this quality of gratitude towards the animals that serve us. Once, Swami was camping at a guest house at Horsley Hills, which was about 3,800 feet above sea level. As there was no running water facility, 2 buffaloes were used to carry the water from the foot of the hills to the guest house for Swami and the 15-odd people who were in his group. The day for departure came. Everyone was seated in their respective vehicles and were ready to leave when Swami began walking to the area behind the house. Curious what Swami was up to, Professor Kasturi and another devotee, Gita, who was a small girl then, sneaked up behind him. As he observed, Swami walked up to the 2 buffaloes and said, "Bangaru, you have done a lot of work for me. I am very pleased with your service." And as Swami spoke to them, it was as though the buffaloes understood perfectly what Swami was saying, and tears began to roll down from the eyes of the 2 buffaloes. Patting them on their cheeks, Swami said, "Don't cry, don't cry. I will be back soon to see you both." Speaking to a gathering organized by the Indian Merchants' Chamber, attended by several thousand businessmen at Brabant Stadium, Mumbai in 1984, Swami reminded them how, according to our scriptures, one's earnings are to be used. He stated that 1/4 of the earnings should be used for the benefit of animals and birds, which have served us and also get affected by extensive human activity. He didn't merely preach the virtue of gratitude and giving back to society, but he demonstrated it with every act of his, small and big. The Brindavan ashram in the 70s and 80s was truly a magical land. Apart from the cows in the Gokulam and Swami's dogs, there were monkeys, birds, and many other animals that got the opportunity to bask under the divine care of Swami. Around Swami's residence, there were many rabbits, parrots, lovebirds, and deer too. And once Swami was done with spending time with the devotees, it was the turn of these animal devotees. Ever so lovingly, Swami would walk into the enclosures where these deer were housed and would feed them with apples. And the deer were ever vigilant to notice his presence. Again, the relationship between Swami and these creatures was not like that of a pet and master or a case of animals receiving human kindness. It was clear that these animals were aware of whose presence they were in. One afternoon, one of the oldest deer in Brindavan began bleating loudly, letting out a heart-wrenching call. Swami had retired, and it was not common for him to come out till evening darshan. But with the loud and piteous call of the deer, his room's doors flung open. Swiftly coming down, Swami instructed those around to quickly get some apples. Swami then rushed to the deer, which ambled towards him. Eating the piece of apple that Swami held out, it gently placed its head on Swami's feet and shortly thereafter breathed its last. The dear devotee called and the dear Lord rushed. As the number of deer began to grow, Swami had all of them shifted to Puttaparthi, where even today they have a huge forested area for themselves and are cared for. During special occasions such as Janmashtami, the newborn fawns would be brought to Swami. On one such occasion, when a tender fawn was brought to Swami, he lovingly carried it around, with the baby making itself comfortable in the Divine Mother's embrace. Bhagwan's way on the animal kingdom was not limited to the mild and domesticated beings alone. Just as he revealed his divinity through the act of controlling the forces of nature, he sometimes revealed how even wild and otherwise uncontrollable animals calm down in his presence. Dr. Shanta, a surgeon who served Swami in the 1980s in Swami's General Hospital in Whitefield, recalls a stunning spectacle she witnessed. She was in the ashram one morning after completing her night duty. She and a few others noticed Swami coming out of the back door from the dining room and standing at the entrance. Swami had with him a basket full of apples, and then they saw a sight they couldn't believe. Monkeys began coming towards Swami in a straight line, in an orderly fashion. Swami bent down and said, "Come, take this," and handed each monkey an apple. As the devotees saw in disbelief, each monkey accepted the prasadam and bowed down, holding their hands together in namaskar. After Swami had finished distributing all the apples, there was still one left, and Swami stood there for a long time, still holding an apple. One monkey, which appeared to be hurt in the leg, came slowly limping towards Swami. Looking at it, Bhagwan said, "Come, come, I have been waiting for you." Giving the monkey the apple, he said, "Hold it carefully and go slowly. If this is not the power of divine love, what is?" One time, Swami was in Ooty and was put up in a guest house. The entourage was woken up at 4:30 in the morning with the sounds of a wild elephant creating havoc. The forest officials asked the group not to leave the guest house as they were struggling to keep away the wild animal. Hearing the sounds, Swami came out of his room, unmindful of the requests of the officials. The elephant came menacingly close to Swami and stopped. Swami gently patted it on the forehead, and the elephant instantly calmed down and withdrew into the forest. There are plenty of such episodes of his divine love mysteriously touching and calming animals. In his only trip outside India to East Africa, even though hundreds and thousands were longing to see Swami and be with him, Swami took time off and went to the Serengeti National Park, thus blessing the gazelles, zebras, lions, giraffes, wild buffaloes and other beasts of this wilderness too, with his darshan, love and presence. In a discourse delivered on May 6th, 1995, Swami said,
పూర్వ మహర్షులు కఠినమైనటువంటి క్రూర మృగములు నివసించేటువంటి యొక్క కారణములో ఉండి కాలమును గడుపుతూ వచ్చారు.
Sages spend their lifetime in the forest amidst cruel animals.
ఆ క్రూర మృగములు ఋషులు సరసమానంగా జీవిస్తూ వచ్చారు.
The wild animals and sages lived in equanimity.
ఆ క్రూర మృగములు ఏమాత్రం కూడాను ఋషులను ఏమాత్రము బాధ పెట్టేటువంటివి కాదు.
Wild animals didn't attack sages.
కారణం ఏమిటి?
What's the reason?
ఋషుల దగ్గర ఏ విధమైనటువంటి ఆయుధములు లేవు.
The sages didn't carry any ornaments.
వారి దగ్గర ఉండినటువంటి ఆయుధం ఒక్కటే, ప్రేమాయుధము.
They don't have any armaments with him.
ఈ ప్రేమాయుధము చేతనే క్రూర మృగములు కూడాను శాంత స్వభావాలుగా మార్చగలిగినారు.
With the weapon of love, they could pacify the wild animals.
These episodes give us a glimpse of that weapon of love he came armed with, which can tame even the wildest and the most restless. Speaking about elephants and devotees in animal forms, how can we forget the yeoman devotee Sai Gita? She came to Swami as a baby who had lost her mother at birth. A life that seemed to have started with a tragedy was to become the ideal for every devotee to emulate.
అడవిలో పుట్టావు అమ్మను కోల్పోయావు, అడవిలో పుట్టావు అమ్మను కోల్పోయావు, అమ్మా అమ్మా అంటూ ఎలుగెత్తి పిలిచావు, గుండె కరిగి పట్టి సాయి అడిగి చేర్చుకున్నాడు, కన్న బిడ్డలా సాకి తల్లి ప్రేమ పంచాడు, సత్య సాయి భగవానుని ముద్దు బిడ్డలమ్మా.
God's thoughts are always on the welfare of his dear devotees. One day, when the caretaker of the ashram mentioned to Swami that he had gone to Gokulam to see the cows, Swami immediately said, Did you see Sai Gita too? Is she getting sugarcane leaves to eat? She cannot express herself so categorically. But when we know what she wants, we should make all attempts to provide for her.
నీ చిలిపి చేతలతో సాయిని అలరించావు నీ చిలిపి చేతలతో సాయిని అలరించావు స్వామి కురులు ముదాడి ప్రేమ పంచి ఇచ్చావు స్వామి కురులు ముదాడి ప్రేమ పంచి ఇచ్చావు సత్య సాయి భగవానుని భక్తితో కొలిచావు సత్య సాయి భగవానుని భక్తితో కొలిచావు స్వామి క్షణం మరుగైతే కన్నీరు నింపావు సత్య సాయి భగవానుని ముద్దు బిడ్డవమ్మా
So tuned she was to Swami that mysteriously she would know when Swami's car started from the mandir, even though she was 2 kilometers away. On one occasion, when Bhagwan was quietly leaving to Bengaluru, Sai Gita stopped Swami's car, and Swami in fact cancelled his trip because of her pleas.
సత్య సాయి వైభవం కనులార చూసావు సత్య సాయి వైభవం కనులార చూసావు ఆ వైభవ దీప్తిలో జీవిని చిందించావు దైవం మదిలో నిలిచిన భక్తురాలివమ్మా సాయి నామమున్న వరకు చిరంజీవివమ్మా సాయి నామమున్న వరకు చిరంజీవివమ్మా సత్య సాయి భగవానుని ముద్దు బిడ్డవమ్మా ఈ నిర్మల భక్తికి సాటి లేదమ్మా సాయి గీతమ్మా సత్య సాయి భగవానుని ముద్దు బిడ్డవమ్మా సత్య సాయి భగవానుని ముద్దు బిడ్డవమ్మా
In this very month of May in 2007, on the 22nd, she breathed her last. That year, Bhagwan suddenly returned from Kodaikanal, quite unusually in the middle of summer, and only a few days later, one realized that Swami had come only to be with his Gita in her last moments. As testimony to the unmatched bond that existed between this devotee and Swami, Swami sat through the entire funeral of hers, granting her a blessing that perhaps no other devotee has ever received. Swami, in his discourses, reminded us repeatedly, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, God is the indweller of all beings. And to worship that Lord, the most important flower is the Sarva Bhuta Daya Pushpam, the flower of kindness towards all beings. Through his love for animals and birds, he taught us how to love them, how to show gratitude to them, and how to be kind to them. And by drawing our attention to the love that these beings had for him, he taught us to love him selflessly. And through these sweet episodes, he reminded us that he is Premavatara, an avatar that has come to shower love on all.